So as of the time of recording this video, I would have been using the iPhone 11 for exactly 1 year and 3 days. I don't know about you, but that is more than enough time for me to have tested everything about this phone. Believe me when I say I've been through thick, thin, and every other thing that comes in between with the iPhone 11, and that's what I'll be sharing with you guys in this video. What's going on, guys? Danny here, and today we're looking at the iPhone 11. I should be holding the phone in my hand, but currently that's what I'm using to record this video. So let's talk about it. Getting the iPhone 11 on the Apple official store as of the time of recording this video is impossible, as Apple discontinued the iPhone 11 back in September of 2022. However, you can still get this used or refurbished on Amazon for around $300 to $320 for the 128 gigs version, which in my opinion is more advisable than the 64 gig model that I have here. You can also find this on eBay for better deals or on Best Buy. I also want to add that you should never try buying this on AliExpress because so let's assume you are to get the iPhone 11. What features will you be missing out on? First and most obvious will be the design. The iPhone 11 comes with that old fully rounded corner design compared to the flat edge design on the iPhone 12 up to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I have used, or should I say I've gotten a chance to hold the newer iPhones, and I can say for sure that they are much easier to hold without a case, while this just feels a lot more slippery in the hand. Although with time I have gotten used to holding my iPhone 11 without a case, and honestly I think I prefer it that way. It's already a big phone, and with a case just makes it feel much more bigger and heavier. The screen resolution is where some had issues with the iPhone 11. This comes with an LCD panel that's slightly above 720p but not up to 1080p, the exact same screen you'll find on the iPhone XR, which is a big deal for me since I was coming from a 2K display on my previous Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus. But after months of using this as my daily device, I hardly ever complain because everything still looks really sharp. The only time you see a difference is when you hold this next to other iPhones without LCD displays, and you can clearly tell the difference in color accuracy, blacks being even more black, and overall sharpness of text and icons. Now on the topic of 5G, to be honest, I don't really know much about 5G, and to be honest, I don't really care because as of now, only major cities in the world have 5G. But if you're like me who only gets decent internet speeds at around 4 a.m. in the morning, then you don't have to worry much about 5G. Cameras on the iPhone 11 are surprisingly as good as newer iPhones with good dynamic range, but as expected, where you start to see a difference will be in low light performance, as that only has been improved as the years go by. Also, I must point out that the wide angle lens on the iPhone 11 is trash. I never use it because no matter how good the lighting is, the images are always grainy and blurry. But nonetheless, this is still a very good camera producing stunning images, and most of the time you wouldn't even notice the difference between this and the newer iPhones. Going for the iPhone 11 means you won't be getting MagSafe, which means you won't be able to use MagSafe charger or other MagSafe accessories, but instead you just have to place it flat on a charging surface like every other phone does. To me, this is a very big deal considering the number of useful MagSafe accessories like the charging station, the wallet, and MagSafe battery packs. So this comes with the A13 Bionic chip, which still performs very well today. It handles both light and heavy demanding games like COD Mobile. Playing on low graphics is a breeze, but when you start to bump it up to, let's say, very high graphics and max frame rate, then you start to experience some lag, and that's majorly due to heat. But I must say my device in particular heats up very badly, and that happens just around the camera bump area, and I'm pretty sure it's due to the battery being bad. And the way I found to counter this, and if you guessed correctly, are phone coolers. I got this one from Memo, and with this I can play at the highest graphics and frame rates without any lags and even be charging the phone in the process. Speaking of the battery being bad, and this is where I would advise you to get the iPhone 11 as used and not new, because the huge 99% of iPhone 11s in the market right now would definitely be used iPhone 11s. So I got mine new, and after a few weeks I actually realized that I was scammed, or let's say misled, because it actually came in a sealed box. For sure my battery was replaced because after just 7 months of using this, I was down to like 78% battery health, which is terrible if you ask me. And I believe it's lower because I tend to charge this phone about 3 to 6 times a day, again depending on the use for the day. But yeah, it's pretty bad. I will be making a video on how to buy used or even new iPhones, or even when to buy used and when to buy new. And if you'd like to see that video, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I drop that video. So aside the battery issues I'm personally experiencing right now, this is a pretty decent device for some particular reasons. First is the price to value ratio, meaning the price you pay for the performance you get from this device alongside the cameras is pretty dope. The A13 Bionic chip feels buttery smooth and handles every last thing I throw at it easily. And although the phone does feel a little bit janky sometimes, but yeah, you can't really compare it with like newer iPhones. And of course, I did mention the battery being on the bad side. The iPhone 11 has pretty decent cameras, better edge detection in portrait mode, and better dynamic range than previous iPhones. Luckily, the iPhone 11 did get iOS 17 and all its features. Hopefully, it does get updates for the next 2 years. Hopefully, praying that happens. Fingers crossed. For the cons, there's not really much to be said. I think the only thing for me is that this doesn't have MagSafe. To me, MagSafe is pretty important because there are tons of accessories you could be using, like the chargers, the wallet, and even the power banks, the MagSafe power packs. Second would have to be the design of the iPhone 11 because having a rounded edge does make it feel a little bit chunkier than it should. Comparing this with the iPhone 12, and you can clearly tell that the iPhone 11 does feel a little bit bigger, heavier even, and mind you, they are both 6.1 inches in size. Lastly, this doesn't come with 5G. It could be important in the future, but as of now, if you're like me who lives in the middle of nowhere, you shouldn't have a problem with that. The iPhone 11 is a great device. Highly recommend getting this in place of getting the 10R or lower. And I say that because I truly do feel like the 10S and 10X Max are way better deals than this, because they are basically better built devices. The iPhone 11 and the iPhone 10R on paper are the exact same phone, and what differentiates them is the chip and the extra lens you get on the iPhone 11. But I say get this if it's what you can afford, because with a little bit more, if you dig well into the market, you can get the iPhone 12 that comes with most of the newer iPhone features like 5G, MagSafe, better performance with the A14 Bionic chip, and overall better cameras. So first, if you're planning to get the iPhone 11 with all your life savings, I think saying life is kind of too much, then probably you should just end up getting the iPhone 10R, which is basically the same phone as the iPhone 11, or the 10S or 10S Max. Secondly, if you are fixed on getting just the iPhone 11, you have nothing else in mind, please go for it. It's a pretty decent device. Anything I mentioned in this video are just my personal preferences. And finally, if you are not in a rush to get an iPhone, then I do suggest you check out the iPhone 12, which is a much better phone with one of the latest designs, has MagSafe, 5G, and every other new feature that newer iPhones do have. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts about this video in the comment section below. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Also, drop any questions you would like me to answer. I'm pretty quick when it comes to replying comments, so yeah. And check out this video on your screen right now to know more about the iPhone 12 and why that might just be the best device worth getting. I'll see you in that video. Bye. Blah, 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 blah.